Uh, I gotta put my camera. Now we need to structure this a little bit. First, I'm just gonna present the event fast. Hi everyone. So we're gathering here to speak about a bunch of problems that occur during the development of our communities, our initiatives for the collaborative economy. So we are a group of practitioners here trying to understand where our problems come from, trying to link these problems together and see patterns and also brainstorm about solutions. So welcome to our video. Now, just before we start, who wants to facilitate the meeting or the discussion, meaning just to keep track of time and stop people that are talking too much or ask more questions if it's not clear?
I think to be you're at the initiative, I think you should facilitate the meeting.
Okay, but let's see if everybody agrees.
If you agree.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'll try to do my best. And if somebody can help me keep track of time, that would also help a lot. Okay.
I can do that.
Thanks. So the idea here was to put together some documents, one pager, that we can lay out some of our problems that we think are important to solve, and then put them on the table and speak among ourselves, practitioners, and try to find solutions. It's basically helping each other solving our problems, because we are probably at different stages of development. We are in different contexts. Maybe somebody else had the same problem in the past and they tried some solutions, or maybe have a tool for it, or whatever. So let's see what comes out of this discussion. Do you want to put your problems on the table, Ruxandra? Speak a bit about Babele, because actually I have to mention that this event was catalyzed by you, okay? And I have to thank you for that. Okay, so I facilitated it, I organized it, but that was you that really stepped up and in need for some answers, right? So I give you the first shot.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tiberius. I feel flattered. So a little bit about Babele. We created an online platform that has the objective to create open business models. So the idea, there is a lot of open source around it, but nobody opens up their own strategy of their companies. So what we want to do is actually, there are a lot of good initiatives, but they don't lack necessary skills and competencies to improve and create real businesses. So we thought that the collective intelligence can help. So by opening up, you can improve business models. So this is the idea. It started with the idea of helping social entrepreneurs because they want to tackle like environmental and social challenges. So the idea was to be a social project ourselves in order to improve the impact of these initiatives. Now we launched the platform 1 year ago. We have a lot of members. We have almost 2,000 members. We had a lot of initiatives registered as projects in Babele that wanted to open up and benefit from the collective intelligence. And so we had a lot of good vanity metrics that were there to say, yeah, we're on the right track. But then we realized actually people were not opening up, and people did not really contribute with feedbacks that were useful. So now we are asking ourselves, how can we increase the engagement and we realize that online tools are maybe not the whole solution of it. So this is like the first problem that we have is engagement. And then the other problem that I mentioned, and I think this is where it's really interesting to talk with you, Tiberius, and the whole philosophy of open value network, and how do you retribute and give people back to their help and their contribution is the fact that how do you create value also for the people that contributed usefully for social projects, and what should be Babele, because for now it's like the initiative of me and Manu, but it should be great if it would be collectively like it would become really something that is collectively used and detained by more people. So I'm thinking about the whole mechanism. How can you do it really good? And this is why I wanted to exchange with Tiberius around it, and also with other people that are really interested in this thematic. So yeah, I hope I didn't speak too much.
No. I took some notes here, maybe just to. It's probably not a good idea, but it's a sort of a projection of my perception of what you said. Let's see what other people say. So to the way they understood. So what I heard from your speech here was, is a platform. It's a virtual environment calling people with different projects. And the problem is engagement. So you end with a list of projects and not much interaction between these people in there. So what I heard from you was engagement. What I heard for you was opening up also, reaching out to the others, contributing to other projects and provide feedback for other people. So basically, going from a list of projects or a list of profiles, okay, to a community where people help each other. And for the solutions, you spoke about behavior. I heard also a redefinition of this virtual space, so that people better understand what it is, what it stands for, how to engage in it. And I also heard from you giving ownership to those who inhabit the space. Let them propose how to shape that space for them, so create more sense of ownership. And you also spoke about maybe the virtual only it's not enough, right? Maybe we need to step into the real life and bring these people together in a sort of a fab lab hub, maybe use physical spaces, right? And I'll let the others speak about these kind of problems. Who wants to take a shot, Tibor?
Yeah, sure. We find we have very similar issues in that case, because Rusandra, because our platform has also a similar approach where we gathering a lot of people and initiatives and communities together, and in the end we would like to see it more constructive or more activity driven, or have real actions taken place. But it becomes really very close to individual characters and people who are engines and that can take things forward. It's going to be in their character, and others are just going to follow, and it's part of the problem. But as it could be something funny to build. It would be some sort of Fab Lab, virtual Fab Lab initiative, where you have this kind of platform where, just like we're doing now, people from anywhere could come and have their input and have their word to say within within the community, and we could come with questions about problems. We could come with say, oh, we have this plan, and how did you guys do it, or what exactly are you doing right now? When we are gathering the community, the people around the building commons, that's actually what we're trying to do, is to say, okay, here's a group of people that have a way of approaching the social networking and technology over the web, and respecting the technology and the solutions of tomorrow, and we're just sharing it. And by sharing it, we find that, oh, this group has a similar problem, and or have a similar objective, and we're just saying, okay, so we can share this. Let's say if they're trying to describe a project, we can share the way a project is described. In that way, we're sharing our problem. Let's say with Unison, for example. So I see here similar challenges quite often. The idea, if I give a very concrete example, is when we met with this team called Unison, they're the guys behind Imagination for the People, and they're redoing the whole platform to promote projects, etc. And they're building it with a methodology that we are calling the Dev Commons, and it's a mailing list that is open and that anybody can contribute to. And our idea is that we have a lot of people that want to build projects, and we can share this part of the code. We can share this open API, and that's what Lumio is also talking about. And there's a lot of in Spiral as well. And there's a lot of there's big communities that are out there and getting together. And if we start talking the same vocabulary, and that's where we're hitting the semantic web, if we're all talking about the same libraries and the same ontologies, vocabularies, if we're using the same words, our platforms can then interact and interoperate. And that's how we see the interaction problem solved, because our groups are coming together. We're putting on the table, oh, we're trying to build projects. Who wants to define what a project is? And once it's done for everyone. So there is like a sharing dynamic within all these communities. And once everybody are talking the same language and have the same vocabulary, then things are moving along. I don't know if that was part of the discussion, but
I would also, I don't know if Rory wants to intervene here based on his experience.
Sure. Yeah, I've seen and heard of a lot of projects running into a similar challenge, where essentially they build some platform that in theory is going to be really awesome. They can totally imagine how all these different people are going to interact and how much value it's going to add. And then in practice, that doesn't happen. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly why it doesn't happen. You know, it looks like on Babel you have a lot of users, you have a good number of projects on there, but then in practice, people aren't that engaged, or the value that you foresaw or wanted to come out of it doesn't. And that can be really hard to pinpoint why, and I don't have any suggestions right now as to how you can do that. And it can be really difficult to sort of force that to happen. You know, sometimes you know, some things just aren't going to happen the way that you originally imagined, and that's why you have to pivot your business model and what you're doing in order to find what works. And a really great way to do that is always be in contact with your community and your users to try and figure out what is it that they need. Maybe it is that physical space, the Fab Lab, or maybe it's rather than this one-to-many, many-to-many communication platform, maybe it should be like matchmaking, where you have one-to-one, where you pair similar businesses together and they share ideas more directly, because that might build a more personal relationship. I don't know what the solution is, but testing some of those might be a good way forward.
So
yeah, if I can like just yeah, so we are not just passively looking at the problem. So indeed, like we are searching for solutions and iterating and discussing with the community. And right now we are doing something. It's a test. We will see the results in 1 month. But the idea is, and it's very interesting to see. Like right now, we launched like something that is a selection, which is pretty strange because we wanted to be as open as possible, and we believe that the collective intelligence can take place normally, but then we realized actually it needs a framework. So what our test right now is, we select mentors and we select projects, and it's not open and everybody to do the matchmaking by themselves. And then we assign for 1 month, these people are going to help this initiative. So for me, it's a little bit sad because I believe that this can happen automatically. But I realize this gives people a very concrete framework, and I see people that are getting activated from our members that were not before. So this is like one of the possible solutions. It's on the way right now, so I can say the results in 1 month. But there can be many others. So like you were saying, it's just something about iterating, and we are not just passively create something and then if it doesn't work, yeah, whatever. So yeah, we are still improving day by day what we are doing.
Rusandra, I relate with your, we actually also started on a totally open community, and we kind of closed down again because there was too much interaction at the end and we couldn't make any more decisions, so we had to come down to a closer, a smaller group of people interacting to really get things going, because it was kind of stopping us from going forward, and we were kept on having endless discussions, and so and finally it ended by being a solution that made us go forward. So that's just sharing with you our experience as well. It's sometimes, as Rory said, I agree that it's very hard to pinpoint where the problem is, but as long as you change perspectives and try and find a different approach, then the solution often comes.
I think it's also really important to keep in mind that community building is really hard and takes a long time. You can't just like flip on the light switch, here's our platform, a bunch of people flock to it, sign up, and now they're all best friends. It's going to take a really long time to establish good relationships and for people to share meaningful value with each other. That might not happen right away. It might take a long time. It might take continuous communication in small bits to make somebody feel comfortable and to be at the right time in their life to be able to contribute back to that community. So that's just one other little piece that I have, is that it might take a really long time.
I'm sorry, I disconnected.
These are people connecting, and it's the hardest thing is to convince people to have a new approach and explain how things are working. And, that's definitely true, Rory. It's very hard to build communities, but as long as you keep at it, that's how you're gonna make more and more people come into your thinking process and your ethical approach or your philosophy or whatever you're trying to build.
Can you hear me now?
I think
at least that.
Kevin left us. I don't know. Tibi, is he? I don't know. We should have maybe stopped and told him. Ah, here he is. Okay.
No, Kevin.
Rory, maybe. Did you want to say something? Sorry.
Sure.
Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, with my projects, there's a lot of people. There's the core people that are very involved with the project, very committed, and then there's this larger network of people that are excited about it, but they're not. Like I said, it's not their time in their life. They don't have time, or they don't have the resources yet to make a valuable contribution, and so they just sort of dip their toes in. They'll send me an email, and they'll kind of get their bearings, get their legs on the floor, but then they don't actually do anything, and that's okay because they're on the radar. They're staying involved with the project, and maybe in 6 months or a year, they're going to get involved and make a meaningful contribution. In a way that they can, in a way that they have a capacity to do so. And that can be frustrating at times, as one of the core project contributors. It can be frustrating to see so many people, hundreds of people being very, very lightly involved. It's kind of like, come on, you guys, come a little bit closer, help us do something. When really they'd like to, but it's not yet time for them, and so that can be frustrating. But I think that's just part of building a community, knowing that a lot of people are going to be very loosely involved, and that's okay.
Hi.
Hi, Kevin.
Sorry,
Hi, I've got some problem to hear sometimes. So if you already talk to me in responses, might because there was that technical problem. But hi everybody, sorry for being late. I've been stole my bike this morning.
Ouch.
I'm sorry. I also dropped out of line because my computer crashed, so I'm now on my tablet. I lost my ability to look at the docs until my computer gets back on. But I think we should move to another problem now. So what I hear from Ruxandra's problem is that it's a normal problem of platforms, from what I understand. And going in the it's also in the same lab. And there might be conjugate between physical but actually not develop physical integration with physical spaces. In every country.
I don't need to disclose your phone.